It was 7:42 p.m. I was folding laundry that didn't need folding when my phone buzzed. One message from my wife, Lena. Subject: a new chapter. I'm not coming back. I've met someone better and younger. Don't call. I moved the savings to my personal account. Good luck. 12 years together, and that was the message. No apology, no hesitation. Our joint savings, $280,000, came from canceled trips, extra shifts, and long nights. My hand shook, small and real. I didn't yell. I took a long breath and opened a red folder in my cabinet. Plan B in case of fire. Cheating doesn't appear in a single moment. It seeps in like a slow leak you pretend you don't hear. Late meetings, longer girls' trips, smiles meant for a screen, not for me. A kind of silence grew between us that even the television couldn't fill. Last year I met an asset protection attorney. We reviewed the prenup in state law. He explained marital versus separate property and told me to move my separate assets into a revocable trust with clear notices and clean paperwork. I did it. The joint savings she watched was a working account. I kept it modest on purpose. 2 weeks before her trip, I moved the remaining reserves into accounts I controlled. The joint account she liked to check held $3,200. It paid bills, nothing more. By the time she wrote, "Good luck," she hadn't taken a fortune. She had taken the decoy. That same evening, I opened our home security app. We installed it together. Cameras only in common areas, visible signs on the doors, cloud backup by default. 2 days before her flight, the living room camera recorded Aiden heard just a friend entering the house while I was at work. They weren't training. The moment I watched the clip, the room felt smaller. I put both palms on the counter and waited for the sync to stop humming. I clipped the video with timestamps intact. Before sending anything, I called my attorney. "Share only what you own and only with the proper party," he said. I filed an official report through her firm's HR channel. Subject line, dates, the short clip from my account. No adjectives, no insults, just facts. Anger wanted to write a long letter. I let process do the talking. I set the phone face down and let my hands finish shaking. I checked windows I had already locked. I ran hot water until the mirror fogged and traced one word with my thumb: breathe. On the fridge, her old grocery list still hung by a magnet. Next to it, I wrote 3 words in block letters: bread, milk, patience. At 6:02 a.m., a blocked call rang. I let it pass. At 6:04, another. Voicemail. Then texts. "What did you do? Why is my card not working? Call me now. Call me now." I opened the bank app and tapped freeze card. That card paid for room service, the spa, and a helicopter tour she posted on her story. A contact in HR sent my attorney a screenshot. Paid administrative leave pending investigation. Policy 4.2. Formal review. By the book. She called again. I answered. "You ruined my life," she said. "I took what was mine because you stopped caring." "I cared," I said, "enough to protect what wasn't yours." When the line went quiet, the house sounded new. Same furniture, different air. By noon, her family started calling. "Linda, she's devastated. What happened?" "Richard, she says you hacked her. This isn't you." I didn't argue. I sent a redacted PDF. Trip invoices, the signed transfer from the joint account, a brief timeline with timestamps, no private images, no emails shown. 3 minutes later, Linda wrote, "I'm sorry. Carla, you're cruel. You always look down on her." I replied, "Carla, did you advise her to move my separate inheritance before any filing?" No answer. The firm's legal department contacted my attorney to verify the origin of the tip and chain of custody. We answered with documents, nothing extra. I set the phone down and studied the pattern in the table's wood until it stopped swimming. The story drifted into local gossip accounts. I wasn't the source, and I gave no quotes. She had a public role. People were curious. An old text surfaced from her phone. "He is so stupid. I could take everything and he would still thank me. Sympathy went cold. By week's end, she closed her profiles. That night, I lay awake and counted my breaths. I admitted the whole mix: hurt, anger, and a piece of relief I didn't want to own. My estate attorney slid a folder across the table. Your grandmother did this right. The trust held stocks, real estate shares, and bonds. It was separate property, confirmed by the prenup and the trust documents. Some cash passed through the joint account for bills. The core never did. The transfer she tried, he said. It hit the decoy you used to monitor, not to spend. We filed a notice for attempted marital fraud to document intent. He warned it might never see court. That's fine, I said. I want the record clean. I signed and felt my shoulders drop. The Tulum trip was her pitch for a new life. Lauren, Aiden's girlfriend, saw a vague note I posted. If you think your partner is away with my wife this week, check location history. She checked and posted her own screenshots. She worked in HR at his company. By morning, his keycard didn't open any door. Lena texted him. He replied, "Do not contact me again." Lauren sent Lena a final line. "I hope you both find what you're actually looking for." That evening, Lena called me. "I felt invisible," she said. "I made a mistake." "I filed for divorce," I said. "The house reverts to the trust per the agreement. You have 10 days to pick up personal items with a supervisor present." I ended the call and blocked the number. I washed one coffee cup under warm water and let myself feel sad without giving a speech about it. Grief didn't move in a straight line. One night, I slept hard. The next, I watched the clock until the numbers blurred. I cooked eggs, toasted bread, made soup in a pot that whistled too loud. I fixed the back door hinge that squeaked for a year. I watered the plants she used to forget. I opened windows and let old perfume leave on its own. Small repairs gave my hands a job while my head slowed down. I labeled the breaker box. I sorted screws into jars. I learned the sound the heater makes right before it settles. A black tie gala for my grandmother's foundation came a month later. I wasn't going to attend. Then the board told me Lena had RSVP'd as my +1. I kept the RSVP and asked Lauren to join me. We had been talking without rush or agenda, two people who knew the same kind of hurt. Lena arrived in a rented gown and borrowed jewelry. Cameras turned. She smiled, like nothing had happened. On stage, I said, "We're launching a fund for veterans who come home to broken homes and broken promises. Pain can be turned into purpose." A short slideshow played. Names and faces were blurred. One slide carried a single line on a gray background. "I have found someone worth my time." No names, no address. Just the sentence that started my change. The room went quiet. Then people clapped. Soft, honest. Lauren squeezed my hand. The court finalized the divorce. The judge approved the prenup and the record we built. No alimony. Each keeps separate property. She kept personal items and a small car. The house remained with the trust. My inheritance stayed where it belonged. I returned a few things I didn't need. Old photos, a cookbook with her notes. I asked the clerk to mail them. No meeting. No scene. Back home, I closed the red folder and put it on a high shelf. Plan B did its job. I didn't want to live inside it. I set 2 rules for myself. No checking her socials. No retelling the story for people who only wanted the mess. The foundation grew in lines, not spikes. We covered rent bridges, counseling, and job support. A letter arrived. Paper, not email. A dad wrote that the bridge kept his kids in the same school. I read it twice. The tightness in my chest loosened. It didn't fix everything. It helped enough to matter. On Sundays, I called my father and told the truth in plain words. He said steadiness is a kind of courage, and that I'd shown both, holding on and letting go. I wrote that on an index card and taped it inside the coffee filter cabinet. Lauren and I kept it simple. Coffee on a bench, walks on a quiet block. We treated trust like a skill you practice, not a switch you flip. Some days we talked about nothing important. That was a gift too. I put my keys in the same bowl, paid bills the day they arrived, cleaned the sink at night so mornings felt possible. I let the house sound like itself again, and didn't try to fill every quiet with noise. Evenings belonged to the porch. I learned the rhythm of the street lights, and which neighbor waved and which pretended not to see anyone. I kept a blanket on the chair and a paperback on the table. When the air cooled, I stayed a few extra minutes to prove I could be still without trying to solve my life in a single sitting. Weeks later, a short message came from an unknown number. I am sorry for everything. I thought I was winning. I was not. No request, no demand. I read it once and deleted it. Not out of anger, out of completion. Here's what I know now. The best revenge isn't loud. It isn't money or court papers. It's walking into a quiet house, pouring coffee, and knowing the life inside it is yours again.